This is the QTV Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM, and I am Jul Denjai. Thank you for joining us. Here are the headlines. On QTV's State of Affairs program, Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow outlined his office's mandate and defended the Barrow-led administration's governance record amid accountability concerns. The National Association of Cooperative Credit Unions of the Gambia, in partnership with the African Confederation of Cooperative Savings and Credit Associations, hosted in the Gambia on Wednesday the 2026 Western Regional Bloc Forum. After years of enduring poor road conditions, especially during the rainy season, residents of Sukuta Nema Aziz Junction have contributed their own resources and begun constructing the road to ensure the smooth movement of goods and services. And in international news, across Africa and beyond, instability continues to exact a heavy toll, from deadly migration crossings and organized crime to renewed conflict and political crackdowns. We have brief updates on those stories. And in sports news, the 8th AIPS Africa Congress concluded in the Gambia after 3 days of discussions on investigative sports reporting, gender disparities, basketball development and talent recruitment, among other topics. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you very much for staying with us. If you are just tuning in, this is the QTV Nightly News. Now, speaking on QTV's State of Affairs program this week, the Gambia's Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow outlined the core mandate of his office while defending the President Barrow-led administration's governance record amid public concerns about accountability and institutional performance. Aliou Cisse reports.
Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallow says the Office of the Vice President plays a central coordinating role across government institutions, insisting that systems are being strengthened, not weakened, under the current administration.
My core mandate as Vice President, first of all, is to support His Excellency the President or his programs. As you know, the President is the one elected by the people, and he selects his cabinet, including His Excellency the Vice President. And all the other ministers, they have their specific portfolios, but His Excellency the President can decide to delegate a lot of activities to you as the Vice President. And apart from that, your role as the Vice President is also to help coordinate all the other ministers as far as the whole government program is concerned.
Responding to criticisms that agencies sometimes underperform without consequences, VP Jallow rejected the claim and said monitoring and review mechanisms are now more active through regular sector and cabinet meetings.
I have not seen any agency that is underperforming at this time, because like I mentioned to you, we have regular quarterly sector meetings where we report. Because at the time when we report, it's also to help. It's not that to see who is performing, who's not performing, no. To make sure that if you have challenges, we now help you to try to come up.
On accountability and enforcement, particularly in areas such as food safety and regulation, he acknowledged capacity limits but stressed that violations are referred to law enforcement and the courts.
One of the challenges was actually because any food item that comes into the country should be tested. All right, and that has been one of the challenges.
The Vice President also strongly defended President Barrow's leadership, describing him as democratic, consultative, and guided by national interests when making major policy decisions.
For him, always what he looks at is what is the benefit of the general good as far as the Gambian people are concerned. And again, we see that even at the level of permanent secretary, at the level of minister, at the level of president, sometimes you can give directives and people will implement your directives. The whole thing is attitudinal change, really. And I think anybody who knows the president knows that, he respects time. For example, the president goes to his office by 7:45.
He pointed to what he called unprecedented infrastructure expansions, especially in electricity access and road networks, as evidence of the administration's delivery record.
If you look at the infrastructural development, it's unprecedented. It is unprecedented, particularly when it comes to access to electricity. Whoever we are, wherever we are, nation building is all our responsibility.
He argued that investments financed through loans, including energy and road projects, are long-term development drivers that support agriculture, trade, and rural livelihoods. He expressed confidence that ongoing reforms, social protection systems, and disaster preparedness programs are improving governance outcomes nationwide. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Now, the National Association of Cooperative Credit Unions of the Gambia, NACOC, in partnership with the African Confederation of Cooperative Savings and Credit Associations, hosted in the Gambia on Wednesday the 2026 Western Regional Bloc Forum. Here is Mam Nabuka.
Held from the 9th to the 11th of February, the high-level summit brought together a diverse cohort of 120 delegates from 7 nations, namely Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Senegal, Cameroon, Kenya, and Malawi, to exchange experiences, establish strategic partnerships, share best practice, and contribute to the development of a shared regional agenda for an improved African financial cooperative credit union sector. Credit unions promote financial inclusion by offering affordable credit and economic opportunities to those often deemed risky by banks, helping communities build resilience against market and global shocks. This forum, held under the theme Building Resilience and Stability Within Credit Union Ecosystems, is a critical engine for intra-African regional integration, allowing these nations to synchronize their strategies, harmonize regulatory frameworks across borders, and enhance their operational soundness to safeguard regional resources and the financial interests of millions of African citizens. Here are Fode Sanyang, CEO of NACUG, and Fumbani Nyangulu, Board Technical Director of ACOSCA.
Despite numerous challenges in some of our member countries, I remain hopeful that these difficulties are not insurmountable. Let us therefore rise to the challenge and work harder.
We're working very well with US credit union system, with Canadian credit union system, the Europe, Asia, and even Australia. And that is why, for the first time, World Council has started considering African presentations in the World Council.
The Minister of Defense, Babukar Ismaila Diouf, focused on AI and digital transformation, emphasizing the need to leverage advanced digital tools to protect cooperatives from cyber threats, anticipate economic risks, and enhance service delivery for efficiency and sustainability.
Digitalization is no longer a future goal. It is a present necessity for sustained growth. We must therefore, with urgency, expand outreach and therefore reduce waste, reduce fraud, and accelerate service delivery.
Babukar Boy, the Minister of Public Service, discussed the initiative's transformative impact and encouraged participants to fully seize the opportunity.
Credit unions have made a tangible impact on the Gambia's economy, mobilizing 3.6 billion Gambian dollars. They have also created substantial employment, with the largest being the Gambia Teachers Union Cooperative Credit Union, which is employing nearly 200 staff. Credit unions, when properly supported, have the power to transform lives, strengthen communities, and contribute meaningfully to national and regional development.
As the delegates wrap up deliberations, the aim is to transform the cooperative sector into a resilient financial bloc that safeguards community wealth and drives long-term inclusive growth across Africa. Mam Nabuka, reporting for QTV News.
Up next, we have a story that embodies the true meaning of community spirit. Now, after years of enduring poor road conditions, especially during the rainy season, residents and commuters of Sukuta Nema Aziz Junction have pooled their own resources and begun constructing the road to ensure the smooth movement of goods and services. Loli M. Kamara visited the site, and here is her report.
During the rainy season, the road in Sukuta Nema becomes nearly impassable, with muddy puddles and potholes hindering vehicles, school children, traders and emergency services. To tackle this long-standing problem, the community has come together, with each household contributing financially to support the road's construction. Alhaji Idrissa Cham, a community elder, is one of the initiators of the project.
We agreed to have at a start, let each compound owner pay 25,000. I said it's voluntary. Let's do it on our own for this interest of our community, because national development begins with community development. If the community is developed, other communities will emulate from them. If they would develop, and eventually national development will be very easy.
Mr. Cham added that the project enjoys support from both men and women in the community, reflecting unity and collective encouragement.
There are three rules. One, wherever we are walking, the compounds around that, we will connect our pipes to those standpipes, and they will supply the water, so that we will not overuse anybody. Every compound, when you cook lunch, take a dish out for the workers, because they will be here at 2 o'clock. We'll stop, go and pray and have lunch, and then we come and resume.
Residents Alhaji Boy and Mariama Kuyate thank all the contributors, describing the road as a lifeline for the community.
The
reason we are happy is because the road connects to the mosque, which is usually hard to reach during the rains. This is just the beginning. If funds allow, we plan to extend it all the way to the mosque.
The rainy season is very difficult for us to live here. Sometimes I have kids, I have like 3 kids, but the younger one, I have to carry him on my back for us to struggle, because I have to take them up to the main road here to take vehicle for them to go to school.
Sekou Marega, a volunteer at the site, shared his thoughts.
All I can do is thank Allah and seek His blessing, because the work we are doing is not easy, and only Him can make it easier. We pray for His guidance and blessing.
Idrissa Jatta, who is leading the construction, said the community's unity has made the work easier for him and his team.
I also lived in this area, so I provided an estimate for the materials, including cement, sand, and others, which everyone agreed to. We started work a few days ago, and progress is going well. While it will take time, my advice is not to rush it. Our target is to finish it before the rainy season. One of our challenges is the lack of a machine to mix cement, which would speed up the work and ensure a more even surface. Anyone willing to help, either in cash or in kind, is welcome.
Ajibintu Sanyang, a local resident, appealed to the public for additional support to complete the project, citing the high cost of cement and gravel. The Sukuta Nema Aziz Junction Road project highlights the power of community unity and self-reliance, as residents pool resources, volunteer time, and seek support to create a lifeline that ensures safer, smoother travel and strengthens local resilience. They also hope it will inspire other communities to emulate their efforts and foster unity across communities. For QTV News, Loliam Kamara.
Laudable initiative there. Now we will go for a short commercial break. When we return, we have international and sports news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Stay healthy and hydrated. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, in partnership with the Ministry of Health, encourages you to drink at least 2 liters of clean and safe water every day. Men, adults, and those working in hot environments need even more water. Remember to drink more during the hotter seasons to stay refreshed. Choose clean water over sweetening beverages like carbonated drinks and juices. Safe drinking water is vital for your health. Always obtain drinking water from the safe sources like tap water, bottled water or protected wells. If you are unsure about your water, make sure you treat it by boiling, chlorination or filtration. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and choose water. Drink at least 2 liters of clean and safe water daily. Stay hydrated for a healthier life.
Welcome back, and this is QTV News. Now to the rest of our stories. Coming up next is international news. Across Africa and beyond, instability continues to exact a heavy toll, from deadly migration crossings and organized crime to renewed conflict and political crackdowns.
Heavy automatic gunfire echoed early on Tuesday near the central prison in Conakry's Kalom district, the administrative heart of the capital, close to where the presidential palace and government offices are located. Security forces were deployed, armored vehicles were seen in the area, and portions of the city were temporarily sealed off. By late afternoon, calm had likely been restored and traffic resumed, but officials have not provided a clear explanation for the exchange of fire. Witnesses reported what appeared to be clashes involving special forces. However, it was not mentioned on state TV, which carried a series of reports of ministers taking up their oaths of office. Elsewhere, news from the central Mediterranean route is the usual grim tale. A rubber dinghy that left the Libyan port city of Al-Zawiya carrying dozens of migrants overturned at sea, leaving at least 53 people dead or missing, including infants. Survivors say only 2 women were rescued, both of whom lost immediate family members in the incident. The tragedy underscores the continued peril faced by migrants making the dangerous sea crossing, driven by conflict, poverty and insecurity at home. Closer to home, Senegalese authorities have announced the arrest of 14 individuals in Dakar and Kaolack, pedophile network operating between Senegal and France. Police allege the suspects were receiving instructions and payments from an individual previously arrested in France, and that French cooperation was instrumental in the coordinated raids. Investigators say additional arrests are possible as the probe continues. The humanitarian situation in South Sudan has worsened significantly, with renewed fighting between government forces and opposition groups displacing tens of thousands of civilians, particularly in Jonglei State. The United Nations reported that renewed clashes since late December have uprooted hundreds of thousands and severely constrained aid delivery. Cholera outbreaks are also spreading amid blocked access routes, and hundreds of thousands of people face acute malnutrition and food shortages due to insecurity and disrupted services. UN leadership has condemned the violence and urged all parties to protect civilians and allow humanitarian access. In Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso's Transitional Assembly has voted unanimously to dissolve all political parties and formations, effectively banning organized political opposition in the country. Transitional authorities say the move forms part of a broader plan to rebuild the state, though critics, including the UN Human Rights Office, warn the ban represents a severe restriction on civic space and democratic participation. All assets belonging to dissolved parties will be transferred to the state, and new political organization laws are expected in due course. Osman Jata, QTV News.
Also in international news, Tuesday, February 11 marks World Pulses Day, a day dedicated to promoting the consumption of pulses and highlighting their importance in healthy diets, food security and sustainable agriculture. As Yafatu Gay tells us more.
Pulses are edible seeds of leguminous plants cultivated for both human consumption and animal feed. They include well-known varieties such as beans, lentils, chickpeas and peas, all of which are rich in protein, fiber, vitamins and minerals. Beyond nutrition, pulses play a crucial role in improving soil fertility, supporting climate-smart agriculture, and protecting biodiversity. Recognized by the United Nations, World Pulses Day highlights the importance of these crops in promoting food security, healthy diets, and sustainable farming systems, especially in developing countries. Pulses are affordable, require less water than many other crops, and help reduce the environmental footprint for food production, making them key contributors to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. In the Gambia, beans are among the most widely consumed pulses, featuring traditional dishes like nyambe nyebe and chebujin, as well as the ever-popular bread and beans, a breakfast staple in Gambian homes and workplaces. Pulses also support rural livelihoods, as many small-scale farmers depend on their cultivation for income, particularly during the dry season. Their ability to improve soil health makes them an important crop for sustainable farming practices in the country. To further promote their consumption and benefits, the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO) in the Gambia has stepped up awareness efforts. Through a televised advertisement aired on QTV, FAO encourages people to introduce more pulses in their daily meals, highlighting their health benefits and their role in strengthening local food systems. As the country joins the rest of the world in celebrating World Pulses Day, embracing traditional, nutritious food like beans is a step towards better health and reflects a global effort to promote healthier diets everywhere. Reporting for QTV News, this is Yafatu Gay.
Up next is sports news. Now, the 8th International Sports Press Association AIPS Africa Congress concluded in the Gambia, wrapping up a 3-day event that explored key topics such as investigative reporting in sports, gender disparities in sports coverage, basketball development in Africa, and talent recruitment. Our sports reporter Momodu Gajaga was there and he now reports.
The 3-day event highlights investigative sports reporting, gender disparities, basketball development, and talent recruitment across Africa. During a panel discussion on the importance of enterprise and investigative reporting in holding sports federations, players, and officials accountable for corruption, match fixing, and administrative challenges, multiple award-winning investigative journalist Mustafa Kedabo emphasized that sports journalists have a unique opportunity to pursue investigative stories, giving the substantial funds invested in developing sports infrastructure.
We have had a lot of opportunities for Gambian sport journalists, particularly to look into conduct of the federation and the amount of money it spends, whether money that's it's given from FIFA. We've had situations of renovations of sport facilities here. For example, the Independence Stadium. We have only one stadium in the Gambia. It's renovated and it failed many deadlines for it to be able to host sporting events. But nobody had looked into why it failed deadlines.
Another key highlight of the Congress was a panel discussion on the growth of basketball across the continent. On the sidelines, Amadou Gallo Fall, president of the Basketball Africa League, BAL, which had its first season in 2021, noted that BAL is helping to build infrastructure, development of coaches and referees, and create jobs in media and youth development.
Our vision that the sports industry we're looking to build, to put it at the service of our communities and our countries. The sports industry that we know is generating billions and billions of dollars around the world, that Africa doesn't really benefit much. That's what we want to change. And I think, the press writers and journalists and the media in general can play a major role.
Another topic discussed at the Congress was empowering African narratives, how African sports media can champion African athletes and their stories. Alongside the role of governments in sports development, Zsuzsa Zictu is a former athlete, lawyer and practicing sports journalist from Hungary.
For the third term, a vice president also of the Hungarian Sport Journalists Association, I started studying the possibilities of my peers and of my colleagues, how we can make the situation a little bit better for women as sport journalists and also for women as athletes. Because what are we talking about?
Over 25 countries from Africa, Europe and Asia participated in the 8th AIPS Africa Congress in Banjul. The event concluded successfully, inspiring participants to promote ethical, investigative and digital sports journalism while supporting African talent and sustainable sports development. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
The report there by Mamadou Gajaga brings us to the end of this news bulletin. Do join us again at 10 p.m. for another news bulletin. Thank you for watching.